all of them starting to fan out, getting in line as they come down towards this very, very tricky first corner, Linus.
Yeah, there's single file coming down into the first turn for the first couple of rows. Fahim in a comfortable leader, but going side by side around the outside. Actually, he's going to be able to hold that though, hopefully. But Simon Povey is really bringing it to him, and there's almost 3 wide, 4 wide further back in the field, but it looks like everyone is going to get through turn 1 without any contact.
It's always a very, very tricky first chicane here at Monza, no doubt. So very well done by all these drivers to get through there. Fahim Antoniadis does in fact retain the lead, but they're going to go side by side now into the first chicane. Simon Povey's on the inside and he will get through for the lead. For him in second, teeny bump behind there, Simon Edwards, and they get through the second chicane. 12 laps this race. Some people skipping that second chicane, as you might expect with such a bumper grid and very, very close racing going on.
Yeah, that was Clark Williams, was the first one to go off from P9, and he has now dropped all the way back out of the top 20, so that's going to cost him a lot of time.
Getting a slowdown penalty on the first lap, never what you want to do. And I think some of what we're seeing now is what we're going to see all through this race. Very, very powerful draft means they go 2 by 2 towards the Variante Ascari, but that looks like for him Antoniadis has gotten the lead back. I don't expect he'll be able to hold on to it down the next straight though. A lot of these drivers will have to be patient with the traffic and find someone they can work with as many people go wide out of that last section of the Ascari chicane.
Yeah, there's no incident on going off there, so you can run as wide as you want, as we see Povey moving up the inside of Antoniadis again. Actually, that's Simon Edwards moving into the lead, I believe, so he's going to make up 2 positions down that back straightaway, and we got ourselves a new leader. But Fahim is going to come back around the outside again, and he might actually lead this first lap.
Great view from onboard Anthony Catt there, one of our championship contenders, and it almost looks as if this top 5 or top 4 might almost get a breakaway from the pack. That would be very, very crucial with how powerful the slipstream is, especially down this massive front straight. They go 4 wide. Who will break latest into the first chicane and come away with the lead? Didn't look like any of them really wanted to give it up.
Bill Fraser though moving from 4th into 1st, but Povey's going to get the run out of the chicane and he is going to retain the lead. And wow, we're seeing the draft in massive effect already. As we go, I believe that's Anthony Catt now as well, trying to get a run. Oh, that's Edwards again on the outside, making it 3 wide.
They are not at all shy about making it 3 wide, even 4 wide. That's one of the things we love about these Skip Barber cars though, is that they can be a challenge to drive, but the slipstream effect, very, very powerful. We saw down the front straight, you can close up in the draft, but then as you move out, you lose the run, and the person behind can take it. This fantastic camera angle here shows exactly how busy it is with 62 cars on the track, all of them fighting for some track position and fighting for some points, Linus.
Yeah, it's points all the way down through this field almost, so there's battles going on everywhere and everyone wants to gain as many positions as they can, because you know one crash can take out a bunch of cars and that might put you in the top 20 or top 10 or whatever where you're on the track. But for now, it is Simon Povey who is chasing the leader, who is Simon Edwards. No, he's in third, sorry, Bill Fraser, who's retained the lead once again. And they're going to be 2 wide down into the last corner, possibly 3. Povey steps in behind. Here comes Edwards moving to the inside. He's going to brake really, really late. Going to be 2 by 2 is actually going to clear him as well. And Fahim is coming in there too. Povey dropped 2 positions. And Edwards is back in the lead again.
Yep, and behind them, Anthony Catt once again setting up for a good run out of the Parabolica. These top 5 almost getting a little breakaway from Lyra Hughes and Nick Sigley behind in 6th and 7th. At the moment, it looks like the top 5, if they can work together, not slow each other down too much, might be able to get away a little bit. But once again, they are 4 wide down the main straight as they head into the first chicane. Well, they've been rather sensible there, and I think these guys know that they can't slow each other down too much, because then that would benefit everyone behind them.
Anthony Cat is just sitting there waiting for a mistake, and as we see now, Simon Povey was able to clear these guys before the turn, and he's opened up a massive gap, but that will close down pretty fast. And behind these 5 cars we got Lear Hughes and Nick Sigley as well, who's caught right back up, and they want to get involved as Fahim goes back into 2nd place.
Yep, so on board now with Nick Sigley as the pack in front of him battled through the first chicane, compromised each other. He's caught back up into the draft, and I think anyone within that top 7 could go into the last 2 laps or the last lap and have a shot at winning. Very, very important to stay with this train.
It really, really is. If you lose this draft, they might be gone if they start working together. But Povey somehow is still staying well ahead as Fraser is making a move on Antonides again. But it doesn't look like he's going to get there early. So not getting any draft. They're actually staying in file here. We're in line to catch back up to Povey. So they're back being really, really sensible now. Seeing the leader pulling away and making any bold decisions as we have some technical issues for one of the cars.
Yep, Simon Povey almost pulling more than a 1 second gap, but that's starting to come down now along this straight as they slip back into his draft. I'm not sure he'll be able to get away, but we're almost back to just this top 5 pack. Simon Povey, Bill Fraser, Fahim Antonides, Simon Edwards and Anthony Cat. Those 5 have been dominating this front train as it stood for the first 3 laps, about to start lap 4 all.
Here they come again, about to make it to 3, maybe 4 wide again. Fahim is blocking really well, but he goes in the middle, one to the inside, and Fraser is actually going to back out, so they're going to be single files. We have a car coming out of the pits as well, but they are not wanting to race too hard up here. As Fahim misses the braking point, and he's going to go straight through the chicane and almost take out Simon Povey.
I'll award that style points, but unfortunately for him Antonides, that's probably going to give him a slowdown penalty. That's not what he wants. He's trying to race in this pack. So we'll watch on board what happened there. Maybe spooked by that car coming out of the pit lane, he's sort of locked up the rear brakes, turned it in, and slid across the grass there. It looked cool, but that's not what he wants to do at this point in the race.
It's very well done there to stay out of Simon Povey and to not spin out at the same time. That could have been terrible, and he's actually lucky enough that he was able to serve his slowdown without losing this pack, because he's still in 5th right behind Anthony Cat, so he's still within a really good chance of winning this race. But Povey still has that 1 second lead, so he wants these guys to keep on battling because that's going to benefit him a lot.
Yes, I'm sure Simon Povey's looking in his mirrors, seeing some of the battling behind him and licking his lips, hoping he can get away, because with Fahim Antonides' mistake just then, Simon Povey has extended his lead from it was about 1 second to it's now 1.7-ish. He might be almost breaking free of that draft behind him. That's a very, very good effort with how difficult it is to break the slipstream both in these cars and especially at a high-speed track here like Monza.
Yeah, that'll be very, very crucial for him to do that, and if he manages to pull away, he's gonna have this in the bag, because these guys are just gonna keep on racing each other, and that's gonna slow him down. Every corner here, especially the chicanes, is so tight, you lose so much speed going side by side that every time they try to pass each other in a turn, he's gonna benefit from it. So they will have to do it here on the straight, and Bill Fraser is not gonna hold on to 2nd for too long, because here comes Simon Edwards and Anthony Cat as well, moving up into 3rd. Fahim is gonna join them, he's gonna make it 3 wide. And he's probably going to move all the way up into 4th, as well as Nick Sigley coming to join the party.
No doubt these guys have trimmed it back down from going 4 wide to now only approaching the braking zone 2 wide. I'm sure they know they need to work together if they want to catch Simon Povey, but still they're battling each other, and what that has allowed to happen is some of the cars behind, like Lear Hughes, Nick Sigley, James McRitchie, Christian Novak and Gary Tall, they've all joined on. So what was looking like a 5-car breakaway is now 2nd down to 10th, all in one train, and Simon Povey with a little bit of a gap out in front in 1st place.
This time by he had it open up to 2 seconds, but he actually goes a little bit wider, and it looks like the gap is closed in slightly just on this lap alone. as they have stopped racing behind now completely almost, so they are really working together to catch back up.
Indeed. So when they cross the line next time, we'll be approaching halfway. As for him, Antoniadis uses all of the curbing, all of the runoff, and then some. You can see how hard he's working to try and carry the speed through that second Lesmo corner, down the straight, trying to close up that gap to Simon Povey, which they've done just a little bit. They've taken maybe a tenth, maybe 2/10 out of him, but they'll need to find maybe half a second before for him, Antoniadis will really be getting back in that draft.
They will really need to be on point here and work together, and Fraser is going to sling back past him here. No, actually that's not Fraser, sorry.
Simon Edwards, I think, goes to the inside, gets the move done as they approach the Parabolica. So all these guys now, single file, able to take the preferred racing line, carry the momentum through the corner, working together now. But I'm sure as we get further deeper into these races, this civility, this veneer of it will fall away. These guys will be fighting hard again later, but now they know they need to work together to be in a position to get good points later in the race.
Well, and Fahim gets back in the lead. They close the gap slightly on that lap. It's now possibly down to about 1.5 seconds, so they will need to do really well here this Pack-10 course. And looking a bit further down through the grid, some big movers. We got, for example, in P14, Chris Bassett has gained 11 positions. He's actually going to 3 wide in the first chicane as well, with a bunch of other guys. It's Dave Martin, Patrick Fairbanks. Leading that group is Christopher Kelsey.
Yeah, so the high slipstream nature here of Monza and these cars has created a few little trains hacks down the field. So we're looking at this battle right now. That's 13th through to 16th, which is Christopher Kelsey leading it ahead of Chris Bassett, ahead of Dave Martin, ahead of Patrick Fairbanks. But then further back behind them, another little train behind from 18th place. That one's led by Chris Morris and Stuart Dick right now. Lots of trains all the way down the pack, and that's a big train now, 18th through to 27th. Maybe we'll get that one.
Had a crash there.
So still watching this one here, 13th through to 16th, and it's a little train, but all of these guys doing really, really well. Christopher Kelsey leads this. As you said, he's up 11 positions. Chris Bassett is up 11. Patrick Fairbanks currently 3rd in this train. It's up 8. And Dave Martin is up 2. So maybe working together, they've achieved some good results, and they've all benefited from it, and they're going along at a good pace right now, hopefully getting clear of some of the cars further behind. So Chris Bassett now goes to the inside as they're going to approach Parabolica. They're almost going to go 2 by 2 once again. Positioning, racecraft, all of that very, very important in these kind of cars with this kind of slipstream racing.
Yes, and they've really lost the group in front of him, so they're not going to be able to gain any more positions other than any crashes. So they know it's just them for themselves. They're not wasting too much time, but here they go 3 wide down the straight. It's actually going to be 4 wide as well, as Dave Martin moves up, and he's going to have the inside. Who's going to break first?
4 wide, like some kind of precision display. They end up 3 wide, and who's that going to the inside? Well, deep on the brakes around the outside, taking the lead.
That was a great move by Christopher Kelsey, and I thought Dave Martin cut the curb a little bit there, but he's not slowing down, so he probably got away without a penalty there, and he's going to make a move around the outside, being the inside into the next chicane to try and get this position away. But will he be able to do it, or will Kelsey pull it around the outside again? He will not. He will brake pretty early, and they will be single file for this chicane.
Yep, Curva Grande flat out in just about any race car, not least of which these inline 4-cylinder Formula Skip Barber 2000 cars that produce such great racing in all manner of leagues and series on iRacing. And these guys, strong grid, putting on an amazing show of it. Further back in the grid though, Peter Parnell is leading this little train of 3. He's up 24 positions. Paul Thurston is up 1. But Clark Williams at the back of the train, down 18 from where he started. So something's gone awry for him. But now he's with this pack, 25th through to 27th. No matter where you look in these cars at this circuit, it is close racing and everyone has something to gain. I think this is back for the lead. Simon Povey had that gap that he was working on. Unfortunately, he's lost it. So that's Simon Edwards in the lead now. For him, Antonitis in the black and red car. And Bill Fraser, Anthony Katz. So that group of 5 that we were talking about earlier, all back together. They're going to go nearly 5 wide down the front stretch. In the end, it's only 3 wide now as they approach the braking zone. For him, Antonitis on the outside. He's had to be very careful because he's messed up the brakes into this corner before, but he gets it right this time. Holds it on the outside through the first section, becomes the inside for the second section. He gets a good run as they're 2 by 2 behind him.
Somehow these guys managed to pull a 3-second gap on the group behind them within a lap and a half while we weren't watching, but it's really turned back into being a good race for the lead. As you said, Fahim is in the lead now. They're side by side behind. Kat is actually going to back out, go back into 5th position, and they're all going to be single file now, taking it easy through the next chicane here as we go just under 5 laps to go.
Yeah, so they have indeed pulled a 2-second gap over that little train we see behind them in the same shot, led by Leah Hughes, James McRitchie, Nick Sigley and Gary Tall. So a pack of 5 leads, pack of 4 behind them are within a tantalizing distance. They can see this group and the lead ahead of them. Maybe that group of 4 will have an incentive to work together, trying to catch that gap to the group ahead as the group ahead of them caught Simon Povey. Fantastic racing, and anyone in this top 9, it could still be their race if they are within the group and position their car for the right place and find the right gap on the last lap.
It's really all about timing and then some luck as well, as we see Fraser now back in the lead again. Fahim is going to have a look around the outside. He's going to lift off though, so here comes Povey and Fraser as well.
And we see a little bit of what I thought might happen as they go 3 wide in the lead pack, but the 4 cars behind all stay in line, not challenging each other, hoping to close a little more of that gap to the lead. Unfortunately, didn't get much done in this last lap, but there's still so much that could happen as they're going to go side by side for the lead, 2 wide behind, and Simon Povey, your one-time leader, gets a good run and he makes it 3 wide behind. So a 2-3 sort of forward and midfield arrangement. They're going to go 4 wide and it's 3 wide behind them. It's almost like you're watching an aerobatics display at an air show, Linus.
Yeah, and Simon Povey just moved from 5th up to 1st down that straightaway. Unfortunately for him, the start-finish line is at the beginning of the straightaway, so he'll have to time that a little bit better. But seeing these small cars going 4 wide down that straightaway that close to each other, that just looks amazing.
Exactly, and that's something these guys will have to think about, is when they time their run, maybe on the last lap, is where that start-finish line is. Like you said, it comes up pretty quickly after the exit of Parabolica, so the timing and knowing where that is might well be crucial later in the race. We'll have to see.
And look behind them now, the gap down to 6th place is shrunk down to well under a second, and it was 2.6 just at the finish line. So just through that first chicane, they lost almost 2 seconds down to this group.
Exactly, that first group of 5, that second group of 4 now become one big Skippy centipede of 9 cars as Leah Hughes successfully gets within that 1 second slipstream distance of Fahim Antonitis. So that train of Leah Hughes, James McRitchie, Nick Sigley and Gary Tall working together effectively as a group to catch the lead pack.
They have done a very good job, and going 4 wide, that's really going to slow you down as well, especially when you got 4 cars coming in the line behind you as well. It's going to really help them getting a massive draft. But Povey has somehow been able to hold on to the lead throughout this lap, but here comes Fraser moving up the inside and he's going to take the lead straight away. Kat is looking to join in as well. He's going to move to the inside of Fraser. He's going to back out early. And Edwards is going to come up the inside of Povey as well. He's going to drift really, really wide. That's going to give him a good run down the straight, but he's going to lose down to 5th. Cat is in the lead for the first time.
Yeah, we rode on board with that car earlier, and now they're going to maybe lead a lap as they come to the line, but once again, everyone fans out. 4 wide. There's a lot of space at the start of the main straight, but then after the pit building, the track sort of narrows down here. They become 3 wide as they get on the brakes, and Simon Povey, very, very deep on the brakes, pulls a little bit of a gap there, but behind, it's entirely indistinguishable that we had 2 different groups. They're all now one big pack battling for the lead with 3 laps to go.
They are, and Povey once again managed to open up that little bit of a gap, and Fraser has opened up a gap as well. I do think that these 2 gaps will close down pretty fast. Fraser is holding 3rd, and they're 2 by 2 behind him. No one really wanting to make too much of a mess out of this, as that will lose them the chance of having the winner. But it's really starting to spread out. We'll see where that will go.
Yep, so our pole man for him, Antonitis, finds himself now back in 4th position, and Simon Povey and Simon Edwards put just a little bit of a gap. They're now fighting harder at the back of this pack, and you see how much everyone is trying to carry the momentum through Lesmo 2 down this straight. Getting a good run out of the corner is so critical if you want to follow up in the slipstream of the car ahead.
Yeah, you really have to have a good exit and sit right in underneath the back wing of the other car if you want to have the maximum amount of draft. And Edwards is actually playing it smart here. He's sitting behind Cat going into behind Povey going into that chicane to not cost him any time. And here he moves up the inside. He's going to clear him before the last turn, and Fraser is just barely going to be able to keep up as well. So that's going to be a 3 cars maybe staying in a line down the straight to try and pull away from Fahim in 4th, and this whole group behind him.
Yeah, and we saw just ahead of these guys is a lapped car of Mitchell Jones. At some point, his slipstream might start to play an effect on this lead pack. Just for a little bit, Simon Edwards, Simon Povey, Bill Fraser go 3 wide, and they've pulled a little bit of a gap on the cars behind, who also go 3 wide, now 2 wide as they approach the first corner. These first 3 all falling back into line before they get on the brakes for the first chicane. That's very, very tactical as they now start to pull almost more than a second on the 6 cars behind them.
And like you said, that lapped car is going to give them some draft here, and he's going to do that down this straightaway. He's going to move out of the way, but that's already helped them quite a lot as Povey's moving back up the inside to retake the lead here from Simon Edwards, and he's going to do it well before the chicane. They're going to be single file once again, and there's a lapped car in between them and Fahim, so Fahim might as well get some draft here. It's not a very long straight though. That lap car not getting out of the way, that could cost Fahim some time.
If that costs them any momentum through 1st and 2nd Lesmo here, as someone's gone off into the gravel in the background.
That's Nick Sigley.
Wow. You might get a quick replay of that one. Maybe the lap car played a role in here, or maybe he just came in too hot. Indeed, thrown it into the corner. The rear just hasn't stuck. That's cost Nick Sigley dearly because he was part, or maybe he's got a tap from behind here as we see a second angle, but he was part of that group. Indeed, the car behind him braking just a little bit later than he did. He was part of that lead group, and now it's cost him a lot of time and a chance at the win. We're approaching almost the final lap. Track position starting to become very, very critical, and that's something Bill Fraser, Simon Povey and Simon Edwards on your screen now have, as they have a gap behind them to Fahim Antonitis, James McRitchie, Anthony Catt and Leah Hughes. The win might well come down to these 3 because they've done a masterstroke in getting clear of those other drivers.
And they have another lapped car ahead of him that might help them down one of the back straightaways here. As we see Simon Edwards actually laying back a little bit. Here comes Povey up the inside of Fraser though. He's up the outside, sorry, and he's gonna clear him before the straight. And Edwards is just staying in line. He wants no part of this. He's already decided where he's gonna make his move for the win in this race.
Exactly. As they took the line that time, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. These 3 drivers will be thinking, when do I take the run? When do I take the jump if I want to be the first to get to the checkered flag? Do you do it out of Ascari chicane? Do you try and do it out of the final corner? The 3 get past that lap car of the number 17. He stays to the left, lets them through. If you're Simon Povey leading this pack right now, do you try and give away the lead some point now? And
McRitchie has messed it up. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, indeed. So that pack behind of 4 cars for him, Antonitis, Anthony Catt. James McRitchie, obviously coming a bit unstuck in the second chicane. He nearly door bangs Leah Hughes, but this is the battle for the top 3 right here, with a lap car separating them from Fahim Antonitis leading the second pack. So Bill Fraser now goes towards the inside to go past Simon Povey. He's going to lead into Variante Ascari. I'm not sure that's where you want to be. Do you want to be the second or the third car coming out of this penultimate corner?
If you can get the run, I think you will want to be in third, and that's exactly where Simon Edwards has put himself. He's going to have a huge run now. Povey's going to get a run on Edwards though, so Fraser, sorry, and Fraser is going to drop, I think, 2 positions here. Edwards
so Fraser leads Povey, leads Edwards. Povey goes to the inside. Edwards now has a very, very big run. He's going to go to the inside of Fraser. Povey leads. Fraser gets a better run off the final corner. Edwards will need to get a very strong draft as we look backwards from Simon Povey. Now Fraser has a run. They go side by side. The line is right here, and it was side by side Povey for Fraser, and I think Simon Povey has just taken that by 0.03 of a second. So your winner, Simon Povey, from second, Bill Fraser, and then Simon Edwards. Behind that, Fahim Antonitis, I think, got it from James McRitchie, Anthony Catt, Leah Hughes. We're watching this other pack now. Christopher Kelsey was leading that one as they come to the line. Lots of side-by-side, 3 wide, even 4 wide as we got to the line there. But what did you think of Simon Povey's positioning to just grab the win in this race?
Well, I thought Simon Edwards had the positioning going on to the back straightaway, but he did not get the entry he wanted into that last corner. So Povey did it right and really did what he had to do to win it. He positioned himself in second place and really knew that that was where he would have to be, and he got the exit perfect out of the last corner. Fraser got a bit upset from Edwards and couldn't hold on.
As we thought, that run out of Ascari and out of the final corner was absolutely critical. We see just a few more cars taking the finish line, but we'll have your results up on the screen now. Your winner, Simon Povey, by an even closer margin than I thought. Just 1/100th of a second as they took the line. Third place, final car on the podium, Simon Edwards. Then making the best of that second pack is Fahim Antonitis, James McRitchie, Anthony Catt, Leah Hughes, Gary Tall. Jonathan Sheen has 9th, and last in the top 10 was Jonathan Sheen. Then it's Dave Cameron, Nick Sigley, Christopher Kelsey, Patrick Fairbanks, Dave Martin, Chris Bassett, Dan Blake, Stuart Dick, Chris Morris, and Paul Cook last of the top 20. 21st, Dave Kirkman. 22nd, Carl Townsend. 23rd, Philip Urquhart. 24th, Clark Williams. Then Ben Daniels, Kieran O'Flynn, Andrew Hendy, Matt Cox, Peter Parnell, and Ryan Walker. 62 cars for this race. We'll read them all down. Peter Cohen, Alan Patterson, Mark Dorning, Daniel Tufts, Neil Jackson, Paul Thurston, Charles Kellyman, Tony Stack, Neil Stephenson, and Louis Morga. Well, we'll stop reading those ones. Linus, what do you think this is going to have for an effect on our championship standings in this series?
well, our championship leader only got 4th, which is his worst result of the season, and Povey getting a good result, that's really going to help him. So Edwards not finishing as well as he had hoped, so he's not going to gain that many points on Antonidis, unfortunately, but it's getting close.
Well, we had plenty to talk about the whole time. An incredibly close race, so much jockeying for position, but in the end, our winner was Simon Povey. Bill Fraser second, and Simon Edwards our final car on the podium. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with this series the same time next week. I've been David Haynes. It's been Linus Brostrom alongside me. Hugo Louis in our production. This is Race Spot. Thank you so much.